Yeah.
Yeah, I first need time to breathe. It was quite a job just finding a party, but life works sometimes that way. Like I have to roll with the changes. Anyway, today I just like to remind ourselves, myself and everybody here, that as we go through life, it's full of twists and turns. You get valleys, mountains to climb, oceans to explore, and we tend to forget some of the things that we had as children when we grew up. One of the things that we tend to forget is we forget to be spontaneous and creative as we grow up. But that's one of the things that you need as you go through life. You gotta be flexible, you gotta be able to move and change around as you go around. The other thing is that we tend to believe that we are supposed to do less as we get older. But in reality, when you get older, you're supposed to do more and more because you've had the time to gain all this experience. So you have quite a tool chest of things to fall back to and help you enhance in your life. The other thing is that, obviously, going back to my first point, spontaneity is a sister of creativity. If you follow the same routine every day, going to work the same day, you won't have those moments where you spontaneously have something comes up. So just kind of like spice your life a little bit, make some twists and turns, go to work a different way, do things a little bit more differently so that you can spark that creativity in you. Sorry about this, being a little bit of a rush here. Then you'll find that in life, most people are doing what they don't like to do. The masses are going through life, but you're doing what you're not loving what to do. And the reason we do that is because we don't push hard enough, or we don't work hard enough, or maybe we've tried something once and then we just resolve to telling ourselves, oh, if I try again, the results will still be the same. So what I'm here to tell you is that don't fall into that trap. Just go ahead and do and make the changes that you need to make so that you can move forward. Thank you.
So Leanne's speech is, I am going to read the introduction that she gave. The speech title is Your Words Shape Your Reality. This project is about understanding emotional intelligence. Wow, a bigger subject than I thought it was. If any of you remember my last speech, the title was, I don't know how much I don't know. I should have named this project, I don't know squat. Leanne.
So yeah, this project was about learning about emotional intelligence. But not just emotional intelligence, my emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, I learned, has 5 parts. There is self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, social skills, and motivation. Now, the self-awareness, I've been working on for a couple of years now. I'm getting pretty good at it. I am an extreme extrovert, so I think I got the social skills under control. The self-regulation is about controlling your secondary reactions. Now, my primary reaction to people that don't care about environmental issues is anger. Your primary reaction is something you really can't control, like fear, anger, sadness, or happiness. My secondary reaction the one you're supposed to control, the one that you can control, is usually frustration, sometimes confrontation, and there's a bit of shaming in there. This is not the way to change somebody's point of view. I know this. I just have trouble controlling it. Empathy is something else I find I'm lacking in. Sorry. So empathy is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. For example, when I'm standing in the checkout line at the grocery store, I have my own bag, and the person in front of me or behind me is grabbing the plastic bags from under the counter. And I tend to frown, give guilty looks, but I need to put myself in their shoes. Who knows what's going on in their life? They could have 3 sick kids at home and just not be, they could have left their bags in the car. They're a little strung out. I need to work on that too. When I'm talking, motivation is kind of, if you have the other 4 things, if you're self-aware, if you can self-regulate, show empathy, and have social skills, being able to understand and interpret what motivates individuals or your group becomes pretty easy. When I am talking about environmental issues, conservation, sustainability, to people that don't care or even disagree with me, I need to not get frustrated or critical. I need to take a deep breath, try to understand where they are coming from, and change my reaction to calm, gracious, informative. Without sounding condescending while I'm doing it. Another challenge. A word or phrase that I'm going to start keeping in my head, and as I was writing this, I've already started it, is your words shape your reality. Your words shape your reality. If I can keep my words positive, calm, graciously informative, I can think of that group in my head, that group, that individual, that they are not there yet. The word yet in this form has positive implications, meaning they're still learning. So as I learn and practice my own emotional intelligence, I'm going to keep the phrase, my words shape my reality, going in my head, and be calm, friendly, patient, and informative. And I ask you, my fellow Toastmaster members, to help me with this. If you hear me get frustrated, critical, generally negative about humanity, Please throw these words in my face. Your words shape your reality. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Andrew. Andrew is doing this speech for the second time, and I thought you wanted to go third. We switched. Remember, flexible? Okay. A little hesitation there. Andrew's giving this speech for the second time because the project is to give a speech, get evaluation, and use the evaluation to improve that speech. Tonight, Andrew will again present his speech entitled Effective ESL Training for his evaluation and feedback project. The goal of the project is to incorporate the feedback to the first presentation. The speech used 5 to 7 minutes. Andrew previously taught English as a second language for 4 years. He will now teach us about effective ESL teaching. Andrew.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. Okay, so I'd like you to raise your hand if you've ever tried to learn any other language. Okay, so that's pretty much all of us. So I'm sure we can sympathize with how difficult that can be. As for me, I'm certified to teach English as a second language. And I taught ESL for about 4 years in Annandale, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. And I also volunteered with the Literacy Council of Northern Virginia during that time. So with that experience, I realized that there's always certain aspects that make the teaching effective. They always consider things like motivation, evaluation, grammar, and making sure to teach all 4 language skills, which include listening, speaking, reading, and writing. An effective ESL teacher always asks the question, what's my student's motivation for learning English? Is it to pass a test, such as the TOEFL, or a test of English as a foreign language, which is used in college admissions? Or is it simply to live and be a part of the community, to do business at the bank, order food at a restaurant with confidence, or help their child with homework? These are all things that I've had prior students mention to me as reasons for learning English. But why does this matter? It matters because it determines the context that are used within the lessons. The more I can make the lessons resemble those scenarios, the more meaningful and effective the lessons will be for the students. Another important aspect of effective ESL teaching is evaluation. Another question to ask at the beginning is, what is my student's current skill level? There are 3 main levels in general: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And then between those you have things like low beginner, high beginner, low intermediate, high intermediate, and so on. In their book, Teaching Adults, an ESL resource book, the group Pro Literacy says a skills assessment shows the learner's current English language listening, speaking, reading, and writing abilities. But why is this important? This is important because the results of the assessment determine the resources that are used and the concepts that will be taught. Because you don't want to work with a beginner student teaching them things like complex sentences and adverb phrases. Vice versa, you don't want to work with an advanced student and work on things like nouns and verbs. It'd be a waste of time for both of you. Also, an effective ESL teacher doesn't ignore grammar. Some people would like to ignore grammar altogether, but grammar is necessary for constructing or for incorporating meaning, structure, and predictability. In his book, Teaching English Across Cultures, Robert Lotto says, there is no There is no language without grammar, and none can be mastered without assimilating its grammar. Furthermore, proper grammar eliminates noise in a message and avoids distorting the meaning behind the message. Moreover, grammar realizes the importance of naming the elements of a language, and that in itself can help with the learning process. So, for example, if I'm working with a student and I refer to nouns versus adjectives, and they have no idea what nouns and adjectives are, it kind of makes the learning process a little clumsy and less efficient. But if I can make reference to those things using those words, we all have the same common vocabulary, it makes the process a lot more smooth. And finally, we also want to make sure that all 4 language skills are taught. The 4 language skills being listening, specifically active listening, making sure that you can listen for information. Also, speaking, which includes pronunciation. Reading for comprehension, meaning it's important to not only read and say the words correctly, but to understand what you're reading. And writing. None of these areas should be neglected. So let's recap what we've learned here. Motivation determines what context and scenarios will be used in the classroom. That matters so that the lessons are meaningful for the students. Also, evaluation is important because it determines the resources and the concepts that are used in the classroom so that the material is appropriate for the students and their skill levels. Also, grammar is necessary because it's necessary for constructing meaningful messages and helps with the learning process. And finally, all 4 language skills need to be taught because all 4 are needed to communicate well. So, in conclusion, effective ESL teaching involves motivation, evaluation, grammar, and the 4 language skills. Thank you.
Beth is giving a level 1 speech, presentation mastery. The title of her speech is Changing the World, One Project at a Time. Beth will be talking about how the nonprofit Project Management for Change is changing the world and how you can help. Beth joined the Project Management for Change nonprofit as a volunteer in 2017 and is now Chief Operating Officer, as well as Director of DC Regional Project Management Day of Service. Beth.
Oh, really? Cool. I didn't know we would have that capability. Thank you, Tom. Imagine it's Saturday morning and you are in a big room, a big ballroom. You're seated at a round table with 5 other people. Those people are part of your team. You just met these people today and formed the team today, and yet you're already in a deep discussion about a project that will change people's lives. This is not just a fantasy. This can be a reality. Your reality, if you participate in the annual DC Regional Project Management Day of Service, which was there. Oh, is it timed? Okay, just leave it alone. I just want to show it at the end. The annual DC Regional Project Management Day of Service at this Saturday at the University of Maryland in College Park. The Project Management Day of Service, PMDOS, is the signature event of the nonprofit Project Management for Change. PM for Change is a 501c3 nonprofit that provides project management services to other nonprofits around the world. Our vision is such a great vision that I like to read from the paper so I don't get it wrong because it's pretty cool. I love it. Our vision is a world where the boundless potential of the project management discipline is unleashed to empower and transform communities around the world. Our PIMDOS events promote the project management discipline, and they provide value directly to the nonprofit community by providing a full day of pro bono, free project management support to local nonprofits and year-round access to resources and support. Our first Project Management Day of Service, PIMDOS, was held in Virginia in January 2015, and since then there have been more than 15 PIMDOS events in more than 15 cities in the US, the UK, Australia, and Poland. 9 cities, not 15. At the 6th annual DC Regional Project Management Day of Service this Saturday, we are expecting approximately 30 nonprofits and more than 100 project managers. These people will be organized into teams with 1 to 2 nonprofit representatives on each team and 2 to 4 project managers. They will spend the day developing a scope description, a stakeholder register, a risk register, a work breakdown structure, and a high-level schedule for a project that addresses a critical need of the nonprofit. To fuel this activity, we'll also have breakfast, lunch, a keynote speaker, raffle prizes. But my favorite part of the whole day is at the end, when I ask participants to share how they feel about the experience. Every year, several nonprofit representatives stand up, they take the microphone, and they emotionally share how much of a difference this day has made for them. That makes the 9 months of planning this event worth every minute of effort. In my experience as a volunteer at Project Management for Change, I have learned that skills-based volunteering can be very rewarding. It can give you an opportunity to practice and form skills that you don't get to do at your everyday job while serving your community. It can give you the opportunity to get a different perspective on your profession and to work with different sets of people. Most importantly, it's a very meaningful way for you to impact your world. If you want to participate this Saturday in the 6th annual DC Regional Project Management Day of Service, you can still register. If you're a project manager, you can register at our website. It will cost $35. And if you're a certified project management professional, you can earn up to 6 professional development units, PDUs. If you are a volunteer at a nonprofit, you can still register your nonprofit and it's free. You can register at our website. If you're not a project manager or a nonprofit volunteer, or you just aren't available to participate, you can still support us by giving us a donation. You can do that at our website. On our website, we also have a video, a great 5-minute video that includes some of those testimonials that I talked about. Either way, whether you're going to participate or not, you can still help us in changing the world one project at a time.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Table topic session is a session to practice impromptu speaking, which means I will challenge you to think on your feet and answer unrehearsed questions. It is for guests as well, so you may want, if you want, you may participate. Today's topic, table topic theme, I choose from theme today, is tip of the tongue. Sometimes there is moments that we have a hard time to come up with the specific words. So this session is for the practice for those times. So pretend that you don't remember the specific word. I will give you the word and the question. So try your best to answer the question without using that specific word. Your response must be 1 minute and cannot be more than 2 minutes, 30 seconds. If you don't have to feel all the time, as Larry said. So I would start. The questions are relatively easy because I give an additional challenge. So is there any members who wants to try first? Oh, Dimitri.
Okay.
So first question, what do you think about Santa Claus? And try to avoid the word Santa Claus.
Okay, so it really depends on how old you are when you believe, if you believe in Santa Claus. Okay. I wasn't thinking there. Okay, the red man with the white beard. So like when I was in second grade, that's when my dad told me that red man wasn't real. So well, I asked him. So I really wanted to know. I was like, you promise, you swear on your life that he's real? And he said, well, no, I'm not going to So, what was the question?
Yeah, what do you think about?
Oh, what I think about him? Well, yeah, depends on how old you are, but I mean, hopefully we all know that he's not real. So, yeah, I think he's a really good example of not example, but he's a really good okay. Yeah, I mean, he's just good for children. I mean, it inspires them, gives them like hope. Like this magical guy gives you presents for being nice, even though, or being good, being nice, even though. I mean, most of us who got them didn't do any of that. Or nice. It gives out coal to people, but I mean that's depends on who you are. That'd actually be pretty nice when you just get free coal. It's a natural resource. It's vital. Yeah. All right. But what do I think about him? Well, yeah, I agree with like everybody else when they say it's good for children. And I think it's I think personally it's best to tell children like once they like get past a certain age, that he's not real. So they don't hold into like a fantasy all their lives. Well, not all their lives, but until you just tell them one day and just destroys them. So that's what I think. You were supposed to shake your hand. I was just trying to get it out of the way.
Is there anyone for the second question? Chris. My second question is, why do you think summer is the best season to go for a vacation and without using summer?
We have 4 seasons. Vacations in the fall, vacations in the winter, and vacations in the spring. Actually, we only have 3 seasons. We don't even have that other. So I don't even have to try not to use that word because it is no such a season. Of the 3 seasons that there are, my favorite is spring. I love when the weather starts getting warmer. I love when the flowers start coming out. I love when the buds on the trees start coming out. I love when I can go to the park explore Sugarloaf Mountain, someplace where there's hiking trails, and spend time outside. In the fall, I can still do my hiking, but the view of winter, the dead season, is close. I do still like winter if I have really, really warm clothes.
Okay, we have time for more, so we can go to the next question. Srinivas. This could be a little bit difficult. If animals could talk, which would be the most charming? Try to describe it without telling its name.
The other day there was in the news, I saw something that actually literally called the police. It was so screeching and it was in so much pain. And the guy next to it was just casually doing as if nothing happened. And it just came on, and then neighbor called, hey, there's some strange thing going on. Let me call the police. They called the police. Police came over. It's not a person. And it's amazing how this animal can do the talk of humans. Or rather bird. You know what it is. So I think that could be another research topic. If something gets into my mind about this research topic, I just go down the rabbit hole. It's like, okay, what is this? Why? Then it never stops. Then by the project I'm working on, managing time, to stop myself. The bird. Talk to me after that. I'll let you know.